Well, you're doing really well. You're 2 presentations away from a cup of coffee, so well done, everybody. What I'm going to talk about today is what we're seeing in terms of people developing their careers, trends, how you can develop your career, but also how you can develop the careers of others. So how many of you look after teams of people? Quite a few, that's great. So you can use what I'm going to talk about to develop your own career, but it's also great for developing the careers of others. And what I'm going to try and do is to get you to think about growing your own. So the clues there, basically, is that rather than taking ready formed security professionals with 5-10 years experience, what I would like to encourage you to do is to try and develop people within your own teams. So a little bit about CIISec. We started off life as the Institute of Information Security. We got Royal Charter status in 2019, and we are now able to charter people. We've been working with the council, the UK Cyber Council, and we're the first body that has been licensed to charter people. So we can charter people that are doing risk and GRC. We can charter people that are doing architecture and system development, and we can charter people that are doing audit and assurance. So it's a really, really big step forward for us as a profession. So it's great, and I'm really excited about it. So why are we here? The Institute is here really as the focal point for you as security professionals. We're here to help you develop. We're here to accredit you for your skills and competency, and we're here to sort of build success within the digital area. In terms of our size, we represent about 35,000 people. We've got membership levels that go up from student right up to fellowship, and that will then be partnered with, obviously, chartering people, which will be around the full membership level. So we do development programs, we have intellectual property, we work with corporates. We've got about 100 corporate members, 35 academic partners, and we work with law enforcement, we work with government. So we work with all parts of the community. We also produce a survey each year on the state of the profession, and that has just been released about a week or so ago. So you can download that from our website. And what we do is we look at trends within the industry and the profession. So some of the things I'd like to draw your attention to is that it's still very buoyant, that 84% say that it's booming and 80% say it's excellent. So it's a good place to be. You're never going to be out of work, which is great. But what we also do is look at the skills that people are looking for. And what we're seeing is that people are increasingly looking for analytical problem solving and communication skills. So it's not just about technical skills. And that's where I'd like you to think about, well, maybe this is where we can take people from other parts of the business or job changers, but people that have got the right mindset that you can then map knowledge onto and turn them into security professionals. So what we're also seeing is that people are wising up to the fact that they want to have career paths and career development. And as it's a buyer's market or a professionals market, organisations need to be an organisation of choice rather than that they can basically get people on a commodity basis. So people are now looking to have PDPs, career plans, and all of those sort of things. The other problem we've got is we all work too hard. I think everyone will agree with that. Yep. So we need to try and make it so that we're not getting burnt out. And the stat at the bottom there where it says that nearly 10% of us are doing more than 55 hours a week. And that's where you're going to get burnout, and that's a big problem for us as a profession. So we need to sort of try and move away from working so hard and spreading the load with more people. So again, in the survey, we always ask why people stay in jobs and why people leave. And yeah, money is always a big one because people need to be paid an appropriate amount of money. But interestingly, that's gone up for people leaving over the last year. And I think it's because of the credit crunch and that things are a bit tougher. But money is a consideration. But the next one is really about opportunity to progress. So if there's an opportunity to progress, that attracts people to the role. If they're not having the opportunity to progress, then they're obviously leaving and going to an organisation that will help them to progress. And again, it's all about interesting work, development training opportunities. Whereas people are leaving, it's about bad atmospheres, bad management, being given repetitive work and just sort of being worked to death and then, being discarded, basically. So we're seeing more and more organisations that are actually looking at trying to develop people. So what I'm going to try and talk to you about is how we've helped a number of organisations over the last few years. Is that we've basically got them to look at the security practice that they want and where they are now. So we get them to do a benchmark of where they are now with their existing capability, and then think about where do they want to be in a year's time or 3 years' time. So if you're managing your own career, you can do this for yourself. But if you're managing other people's careers, then obviously you can do that to encourage your team and develop your team. So what we like people to do is to look at what talent you've already got. And I'll show you a very simple way of doing that in a minute. But it's basically, what have you got there? What are the aspirations of the people that you're working with now? What skills are they bringing potentially from another role? It could be that they've changed organisations and that they're an absolute whiz at risk management at a previous company. So what you want to do is find out what talent you've got, where it wants to go, and where you think that you can take that talent. And then also look at poaching people from different parts of the business as well. Is that we've seen a lot of success with people taking people from IT teams, from help desks, from the business itself, because the people working within the commercial side of the business understand the business and that they can bring skills such as communication, project management, analytical skills, that there's a lot of skills that can be brought in, and it's then mapping knowledge on top of it, which you can do through training. But it's that innate sort of curiosity that we all have within security that you need to be able to harness. So there's lots of transferable skills. There's also a big desire to get into security. So raw talent is going to be very keen to get involved and to be trained. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And the other thing that we see is that diverse teams really work. So the more diversity you can have in a team, the better. And that's just from every level. Personalities, backgrounds, all of those good things. So, this is it in a nutshell. Basically, we've just talked about benchmarking. So, what have you got now? Get your people to benchmark themselves. You may disagree with their benchmarking because some people obviously elevate their skills and some people are quite hard on themselves, but you've got to work that one out. You can then think about, well, there are areas that we're going to need to recruit, but you've got a much better idea of what it is that you need to recruit for, and being able to build job specs that will actually apply to that far more appropriately than just doing a blanket search for things. So once you've benchmarked your team, you can look at development plans for them, and then everybody loves to be told that they're doing a great job, so we can help with accrediting them for their skills and competency when they get to the appropriate levels. So the way we do the benchmarking with our corporate members is that we get them to use our skills framework, and it's got 6 levels of competency. The first 2 are primarily about knowledge. They either know a little or they know a lot about something, but they haven't got practical experience. Levels 3 and 4 are sort of junior levels of expertise, and then 5 and 6 are your senior practitioners that you can throw anything at. The 6s are the sort of like the, the real go-tos within the organisation. So what we ask people to do is assess themselves between 1 and 6 at the various areas of the skills framework. And the skills framework covers all of the various skills that can make up being a security professional. So you've got everything from your security management up there, risk, development, audit and assurance, right down to data protection, business continuity, incident management. But it also includes the soft skills as well, which we call the J skills. And they're the interpersonal skills of understanding the business, communicating, influencing, because they're all absolutely essential to being a security professional. So each one of those areas is broken down into more granularity. So the one that we've got up there is security management. So you've got governance, well, you can read it for yourselves, but governance down to third-party management, and it goes on from there. So each one of those lines has a description. So this one's for threat intelligence, and it explains all the principles that you have within that discipline, and it then looks at what you would expect somebody to be able to do at each of those levels. So for that one, you can see it's leads corporate threat intelligence at level 6, whereas at 1, you're just being able to describe the concepts. And it's very simple. People can just score themselves in about 20 minutes. It doesn't really take very long. You can think about what you want as an organisation, and then it's just trying to sort out the delta of developing people that want to develop in particular areas that fit the business, fit your aims and fit their aims, hopefully, and everybody's happy. So the way that we help organisations to develop is that we say to an organisation, you need to concentrate on the job training, in effect. So if somebody's doing incident management, you train them on the tools or whatever it is that you want to do. But what we do is that we provide the professional wrap. And so we get subject matter experts to talk to the development teams of particular areas of the skills framework. So if it's risk management, we'll get somebody who's a specialist in risk management to come along and talk about the principles of risk management, how it gets used within an organisation. And then what we ask the people on the development programs to do is an exercise afterwards with their mentor, which is usually really saying, how does this particular skill work in our organisation? So how do we do, coming back to the earlier presentation, data protection? Who looks after data protection? How do we handle it? What do we get in terms of DSARs and those sort of things? So it just gives them that rounding. And if they're working in a large organisation, people can tend to be quite stovepiped, so they don't see different parts of the organisation. So it works well in terms of broadening them. And then at the end of a year or so, it depends on the individual, obviously, we can get them accredited at associate level, and then they can move on to the next stage of their journey, which is to become a full member, which will be aligned with Charter, pretty much, for their next level of development. Now, when we're going to the next level of development, a lot of that is not so much about technical skills. It's more about how do you communicate to senior management, how do you present a board paper, how do you manage a number of projects, understanding about different areas within the community. So we get maybe the oil and gas community to talk about how security works in that particular sector. Again, finance, we'll get somebody to talk about finance. So it again gives them that broadening so that when they are ready to go for full membership, which is about 5 years of experience, they're equipped and they've got some skills there to do it. And that is about it. So growing your own, it's cheaper, it's more rewarding, and as we all know, it tastes a lot better if it comes straight out of the garden. So,
Amanda, brilliant. Thank you very much.